Welcome back on the AM show. No, it's not a different show. It's the same show. We've just changed the outlook for you. We're about to serve you the news review, and we're doing something interesting today, especially because it is Farmers' Day. We're celebrating our farmers, and it's a holiday. So we're activating the phone lines to allow you to get interactive with us. Even as we talk about the stories online that we're going to be sharing with you, we'd love to hear from you on our farmers. One of the conversations we're going to be having this morning later on the show. Our farmers, whether over these decades since we instituted Farmers' Day, we've done justice to them. You can call me and share your thoughts on some of the other major issues. For example, the OSP, Kisie Jabing, and what he's been saying about the legal system hobbling his work. One of the matters I'm going to be talking about in my blunt thoughts today has to do with the Import-Export Bill. In other words, the restrictions bill and what it bodes for Ghana. I'll give you a proper breakdown of what the implications are. But we're inviting you, share your thoughts with us on the myriad matters of concern. It could even be something that is happening in your community, bad roads among others. Call us and let's share our thoughts, even as we get into the major stories. You know the number to call, but if you don't, here it is. 0302 211 691 0302 211 691. Let's get to the stories now, and myjoyonline.com is where we're going to be starting from today. It has that story there. Kisie Jabing should have applied the law before calling a press conference. That's according to the Ghana Bar Association, and we'll bring you some details of that shortly. It's interesting, the things that sometimes get responded to by the Ghana Bar Association. And sometimes you would think of other things that there would be no responses to. But who are we? They are who they are, and we are who we are. So the story says, the Ghana Bar Association says the Office of the Special Prosecutor should have exhausted all the legal processes before resorting to the Court of Public Opinion when it disagreed with certain rulings of the court. According to the Public Relations Officer of the GBA, Xavier Kuje, the law allows individuals who do not agree with its rulings to appeal or apply for a review. Speaking on Newsnight on Joy FM, he explained that the special prosecutor, Kisie Jabing, had a legal background. He should have applied the law. That is the take there. But we have a first caller on the line. A very good morning to you, sir.
Good morning.
Please, where are you calling from?
Papa, I'm calling from Ejiso.
Ejiso?
Yes, please.
Oh, it's good. I don't think we've heard from you before, Papa, have we?
Yes. This is my first time calling into your program.
Thank you so much for calling. What are your thoughts for us this morning?
Yeah, I want to comment on the Farmers' Day.
Right.
This has been the decline of the agricultural sector in this country. Pardon me for my choice of words, but it looks like the gold rush, or as I put it, the gold creed, is having dire consequences on the future of agriculture in this country.
Okay.
I come from a place in the western region called Asankregwa.
Okay.
Asankregwa is a typical farming community. Elsewhere, we used to be the food basket of the region. Today, if you go to Asankregwa, cassava, plantain, vegetables are imported from Kumasi. Hitherto, people from Kumasi come to Asankregwa, buy those foodstuffs and bring them to Kumasi for sale. Now, foodstuffs are being imported from Kumasi. I can tell you, a tuber of cassava is more expensive in Asankregwa than in Accra. A place which...
You're kidding me. You're telling me in Asankregwa, that community, it's a rural community. You farm there. You're telling me things are more expensive there than in Accra.
And I'm telling you today that a tuber of cassava is more expensive in Asankregwa than in Kumasi and in Accra. In Asankregwa today, the surrounding villages have to come to the central market in Asankregwa, buy foodstuff and take it to the villages. The villages now have to buy sachet water. When I was a kid, we used to go to the farm. We drank the stream, and it was very refreshing. Today, the gold craze has destroyed all our river bodies. And so, people in the villages who used to depend on these river bodies now have to resort to sachet water. They come people in the villages come to Asankragwa, buy foodstuff and take it to the village because all the land has been desecrated by ecological vampires.
So you're referencing Galamsey, right? You're referencing
Yes,
Galamsey.
they are ecological vampires. Their insatiable greed for money has resulted in destroying all our arable lands for agriculture. And so the future is bleak. Today we are going to celebrate farmers. Maybe in the next 10 years, you will not be celebrating them again. Because we are taking down, we are desecrating our water bodies, they are desecrating our rivers, they are desecrating the arable lands that we use for agriculture. Everything is being desecrated. And we are looking unconcerned. So please, if you want to celebrate farmers today, let's safeguard agriculture. Let's put in stringent measures that will safeguard our land for agricultural purposes and not for what we are doing today. Today, go to Asankragwa and see. In the middle of the town, Galamsey operation is going on. Just behind somebody's building, there's Galamsey operation going on there. People don't have opportunity now to even do backyard gardens.
Wow. Papa Ahin, well, Yedibesiha, thank you so much for reaching out to us from Ejisu and sharing the story of Asankragwa. I mean, I have not been in Asankragwa. I don't even remember the last time I went into that part of the country. But I know what it is. I know it's a rural community, a farming community. And for him to say this, that this is the state of affairs, is indeed heartbreaking. We celebrate farmers, but like he said, maybe a time will come when there will be nothing to celebrate, no farmer to celebrate because of the desecration, not my words, his, that we're bringing to the land. But going back to the story, right before we move on and do something from the LI, something I'll be expanding on today, that story also says, well, the position we, that is the GBA, I'm talking about the OSP saga, have is that his approach, that is Kisia Jabeng's approach, is not the most appropriate. He is a seasoned lawyer. He has gone to court and the court of first instance had delivered its decision, not in his favor. But then the point is, you say he should go to the courts, the same courts that he feels aggrieved against. You see how it is. Yes, I understand. That is the last resort. He'll have to go to the courts. But it's the same courts that he feels aggrieved against. So it's like a catch-22 situation. You want him to go back to the very place that he is, not content with. And interestingly, some reactions on that story. Amansan Katechie says, is the PRO happy of the actions of the judges towards the OSP in fighting against corruption? Are the judges, well, I can't read the rest of it. And he says, posterity will judge us all. Mr. Kuja and GBA, the OSP is a nationalist. Let him use all means. This one is from Shaibu. To protect the Ghanaian treasury from the dangerous cancer called corruption, destroying the Ghanaian society to the extent that it is not unlawful to use a press conference to explain to Ghanaians the challenges facing the OSP. And tied to that story, interestingly, you would see Martin Kpebu, himself a lawyer, saying Kisia Jabeng shouldn't resign because he's frustrated. We frustrated Martin Amidu. Now Kisia Jabeng is also frustrated. Domelevo, Daniel Yao Domelevo, the former Auditor General, says the special prosecutor's lamentation does not augur well for the judiciary's image. And in fact, Kisia Jabeng himself, the OSP, has said that the courts are treating him and his office with hasty dismissiveness and no regard. So I keep asking sometimes. I say that this office we set up, did we go or did we come? Did we really need it? We like duplicating stuff. Oh, we've created this office. We're starting a new drive to create employment. And the old ones we're not even using. We have Osman on the line. Hello, Osman. Good morning.
Good morning.
Where are you calling from, Osman?
I'm calling from Asankragwa.
Oh, it's Osman from Asankragwa. So that's interesting. I believe you heard Papa Ahin a short while ago talking about Asankragwa. Is that the real state of affairs?
Well, there's some iota of truth in what he said.
Osman, I'd appreciate it. I know it's early morning, but if you could speak up for me so we can all hear you, I'd be very grateful.
Yes, I did hear him, but I think what he said, there is an iota of truth in it.
Okay.
Yes.
There is some truth in it.
Yes, yes, yes.
Which part of Asankragua specifically are you in, Osman? And what is the situation in that specific place?
Well, this area is a Galamsey area, and most people are engaged in the activity. Understand? Most people are engaged in the activity. But for me, what I call to have my take on is the agriculture aspect. Normally, as we celebrate what we call Farmers' Day today, I completed school somewhere around 2017. I had a very much interest in agriculture, and specifically animal and then cattle raising.
Right.
I went
Animal husbandry.
Yes. I went into that sector. Started with some few cattle, to see how life goes on. But you see, sometimes getting access to some specific drugs and what you call it, assistance from the government becomes very difficult. It becomes very difficult, especially with this veterinary aspect.
Right.
Normally, you can even. There was a time somewhere around 2000. I had an outbreak in my farm. I had about 20 cattle, and I lost almost all the cattle. I think I lost about 16 cattle. Every day I will lose one. Every day I will lose one. You call this veterinary, he comes, and there wouldn't be any changes in the farm.
So Osman, on the back of what you're telling me, just so we can have you share your thoughts properly and also bring other people in, when you look at the state of agriculture, and that includes animal husbandry, what you've been in, do you think we're making progress? Are we static or are we retrogressing? What do you see?
At all. We are not making any progress at all.
We're not making any progress.
Any progress at all. We are not making progress because if you don't have access to these, what do you call it, veterinary doctors, sometimes they come to your farm, they just guess. They will even take samples to go to labs and check what is really the problem. And you keep on losing all your investment. And these investments that you are losing, it's not as if government is coming to support you. The government is not coming to support you. As a student, somebody who has just completed university, try to gather some small from my national service to acquire land and then buy cattle. And all of a sudden, I have to lose all these investments. And you see, so sometimes it becomes frustrating. And these things that we are doing, it's not like we are doing it for ourselves. Even though we are doing it for ourselves, the country also benefits.
The country benefits. Yeah.
Yes.
Osman,
Because
thank you. Thank you so much for calling in and sharing your thoughts. It's crucial what you're talking about because one of the items, and we'll get to that story shortly, the LI restricting importation of products unnecessary, that's an Economist. We'll get to that story focusing on the import restrictions LI or bill, right? And one of the items in there, today when I share with you my blunt thoughts, you would see poultry production, okay? He is talking about cattle. A lot of the cattle we consume in Ghana, we get from neighboring countries. And in Nkrumah's time, there was a meat processing factory. There were plans to create that sustainability, self-sufficiency in that. We never got there thanks to the selfish people who led the coup d'etat that has left us all in the lurch, and some of whom, generations to come, are trying to foist other things on us. But the point being that we get our meat products from around us. What is the local content and how much more can we produce? At a point, our self-sufficiency in poultry was pretty high. I keep going back to Akoko Dako Farms and others. Look at us today. If today you stay with me for the blunt thoughts, and I share with you, if you look at the disparities between our consumption and the importation and then the real production when it comes to poultry, you'll be shocked. And there he is, Osman, engaging in cattle rearing. Can you imagine? Because we don't have those swathes of land that maybe a country like Brazil or Argentina would have. And these are high producers of cattle. That's where a lot of the corned beef you have, some of it, a chunk of it comes from Argentina. Okay? People like that, if we had even 500 of such people across the country. Do you know what this would do for our meat consumption in the country? But no. And yet we'll be putting LI upon LI. It's not the LIs that will solve the problem. It's the implementation of the policies. Let's get into that other story, though, because on My Joy Online, LI restricting importation of products unnecessary. That's according to an economist. It's a crucial issue I want to bring up. An economist, Professor Ebo Turkson, has expressed strong reservations about the Trade and Industry Ministry's proposed legislative instrument on export and import, particularly emphasizing concerns regarding the restriction of selected strategic products. Now, speaking on Joy News' PM Express, The Economist questioned the rationale behind the policy, drawing a historical parallel where, during the era of Ghana's first president, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah's import substitution industrialization, where import restrictions were implemented and failed. According to Professor Turkson, such policies should be accompanied by robust support for domestic firms to enhance their capacity. And I'll just end with this quote. It is totally unnecessary. It should not be a policy that should be supported at all. As for import restrictions, it's okay. We need to make sure that we domesticate our consumption. But this has to be data-driven, he said. And that is the point. That is the crucial point as far as it comes to when it comes to this bit. It's not about saying we don't need it. Over time, as a country, we have to have some food self-sufficiency in many strata of our national lives, like even the clothes we put on our skins and all of that. If you watch videos from the Nkrumah era, we dressed differently. Yes, we still had the suits and everything, but our dressing was different. Today, it has changed because of a mindset change, because of some, acquired taste, if you like. We have to get there at some point, but you don't just jump from A to Z. It must be gradual. And you must put in place the necessary measures. So Osman is in Asankragwa. His cattle have died, 16 out of 20, no support. Yet you think as a nation you can beef up your beef consumption, for example, and or production to match up the need. You're dreaming. It's a pipe dream. But that's how we usually like to go about policy. Oh, we'll do this. And then sometimes we go ahead of ourselves. We put the cart before the horse. And then later, when the consequences hit, it is the ordinary man who has to bear the burden again. Where's the thinking? The paucity of thinking is what is complicating matters. But I'll save more of that for my blunt thoughts, which I'll share with you later. If we can, maybe we can go to another portal. Maybe we can get to the Daily Graphic portal and see what is there. Okay, so that's Graphic Online. Let's check out what stories they have. Ayiko to our farmers. We salute our farmers, of course, and we celebrate them on this momentous day. Then there is also this bit about since 1993. I'll look at that story. Parliament has never resorted to division in making, and of course that has to do with the bit about the LI. So let's quickly get into that story. Let's get the details of that. That's the majority to Speaker. So the majority side in Parliament has stated that since 1993, Parliament has never resorted to a division in making decisions. I was therefore wondering why the Speaker, Alban S.K. Bagman, on Wednesday decided to resort to a division in making a decision on the 2024 budget statement and economic policy. To them, there was no such application to make the decision by resorting to a division, and that the application, which was raised by Emmanuel Kofi Amabua on account of Order 1132, was a result of the challenge where he called for a headcount. Now, there was no call for a decision by division, and that it was the Speaker who opted to go by that route. To them, they are insisting that until the appeal for a headcount is dealt with, not the division that the Speaker had called last Wednesday, the 2024 budget statement and economic policy has been approved per what transpired in Parliament last Wednesday. And that is the latest from there. This country never ceases to be more and more interesting. Because for the first time, for the second time actually, within this Parliament, this 8th Parliament, you have seen the majority side walk out on its own budget. But in this instance, it's about the processes and procedures of Parliament. They have their standing orders. They have the dictates of what happens in Parliament, what processes ought to be followed, and how they ought to be followed. I find it rather interesting that two sides of Parliament cannot decide what ought to be and what ought not to be in terms of the same procedures and processes that they have. Something is clear though. If the majority had the numbers in Parliament, the last time this debate came up, they wouldn't have walked out when there was a call for a head count. On the other hand, where the right processes followed to ensure that the right thing was done as far as this vote was concerned. So for those of you who watched, the Speaker asked for the decision of the House. There was aye and there was nay, and the Speaker said the ayes had it. But it didn't end there because, like we've mentioned, Emmanuel Kofi Boa actually made mention of the fact that no, we don't think the ayes actually have it, which was where the head count was requested and the majority, on the back of the majority leader's call, filed out of Parliament. Did they have the numbers? I think that is for you to decide. But with these attitudes and things happening, will that augur well for our Parliament or parliamentary business and for all of us moving forward? There are concerns with the 2024 budget statement. It's a sine qua non. It's a without which not. It is clear there are myriad challenges with it on the tax level, on the provisional level, on budgets for different ministries, among others. There are problems. Are we going to address them? Are we going to foist them down the throats of, or shove them down the throats of everybody? Well, we'll leave the parliamentarians to debate that. We'll leave the Speaker to determine whether or not this budget statement has been approved. The last time, so the majority is saying it's been approved. The minority is saying it has not been approved. Where does that leave us? And how will parliamentary work flow from there? I ponder, for example, I'm wondering. So the finance minister wants to come to Parliament to do some work that likely would require certain numbers. Will he get the approval from the minority? I don't know, but it's up to the parliamentarians. Of course, we elect them to go into those constituencies. Let them do their work, and let's see how this machinery will run. We have a caller on the line. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
I'd appreciate it if you could speak up a little for me. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Wazi.
Taiwali.
Wazi.
Sir Wali.
Wazi, W-A-Z-Y.
Sir Wazi, I see. Okay. Is that your nickname?
No, my real name. Wazi is my real name.
Wazi is your real name. All right, my apologies then. What are your thoughts for us this morning? Where are you calling from again? Where did you say you were calling from?
I'm calling from Hacho.
Hacho, all right.
Yes.
What are your thoughts for us?
Concerning the airline.
Right.
I read economics, first degree.
Okay.
And I don't think you need economics to understand that this is not a well thought through policy.
Okay.
Because I just want to give a scenario. You are in a house with your wife, and you think your wife is working and doesn't have time to spend with the kids. Meanwhile, you, the husband, your salary is 1,000 cedis, and you tell your wife to stop work. Well, that's actually increasing your income. It is not a thought-through policy. So I think that what the minister should do is, as it has been done before, an import substitution policy should be put in place, like the 1G, 1F that we spoke about, that we never saw anything about. And then the plenty food and job that we have not seen any food in our market. These are the policies they should beef up, so that when we get the product produced and selling, then we can protect our local industries with the import substitution. The restriction that we are putting on. But please, Benjamin, this is what I want to ask. I'm surprised. I could remember 2016, many people come about talking about what Mama is not doing right. We have pastors, we have opinion leaders, we have so many great people talking about the state of the economy. But I'm surprised everyone is quiet. What is happening?
Not everyone is quiet. Have you followed the Ghana Bishops' Conference?
People are quiet.
Have you followed the Ghana Bishops' Conference in recent times? Not even just in recent times. They've been speaking a lot about galamsey, the abuse of our environment, corruption. A lot of that has happened, together with other groups from time to time. I admit, and I know exactly where you're going, some specific people, let's leave their names out, who were vociferous then are not speaking now. You can't force them, can you? But I guess it shows really who they are and for whatever reason they may not be speaking. Because me, back then, I always tell people the wrong things that were going on. I spoke about them. I spoke against them vociferously against Mahama. And I'm doing so now. And whatever administration comes, it will be same. But you cannot say same for some other people. It's their cup of tea. We leave that to their conscience, right?
I believe you. I think so. Because I've been watching every morning. You have been consistent. But what surprises me is that from 2015 to 2016, almost every radio station, almost every TV station, I don't want to mention their names. You hear Doomsday, you hear about Mohammed's expenditure. All of us, personally, I didn't vote because I said, oh no, what this guy is doing is not right.
Right.
But I'm surprised you are not saying the same at this time. It's like our leaders, not only our leaders in politics, but our leaders in churches and other imams, and they are failing us, the youth. I think this is the time, as they spoke the last time, they should speak now. It should be fair, or else it looks like the writings are on the wall. We are heading towards doom, as the OSP said. Thank you very much.
Thank you for calling. The writing is on the wall. I think shortly we'll wrap up and veer into sports. But let's quickly go on, maybe before we go to the international front and cap off and get to sports. 24-hour economy is the idea of the APC. That's according to Hassan Ayariga. You know, when he started talking about this, I was at Christ the King hosting an event where he attended that event, and he spoke about this bit. So, Uncle Hassan Ayariga, my good friend, let's situate the conversation. I do know that in his 2020 All People's Congress manifesto, he had one line, I think point 18 or 19, talking about a 24-hour economy. But guess what? The NDC, and it's surprising how all this was overshadowed, and it's now coming to the fore, also in its 2020 manifesto, had say, but even before these two parties had them, the 40-year development plan. Do you remember that? Or Safo Mafo and, we don't need... That 40-year development plan, many, many years before 2020, had that. A 24-hour economy. So, yes, there may be claims about I did this or I brought that. But like I said, it doesn't matter which political party brings it up. MPP, NDC, APC, PPP, CPP, PNC, it doesn't matter. Is it a good idea? Can it shore up employment? The vice president has been saying we've created 2.1 million jobs. Where are the jobs? Where are they? With unemployment at where it is, and some experts will even tell you that it's way more than that. Where are the jobs? We'll take our final caller and then cap off this conversation. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Your name, where you're calling from, sir?
My name is Maxwell, calling from German South.
Calling from?
German South.
German South. Okay, German South. Maxwell, you have the final bite. What is your take?
Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. And greetings to your listeners. My concern is about the OSP.
Right.
How he is lamenting. I think OSP has been given a specific function and role to play. But it seems he is trying to use his office to sometimes hunt people without going into whatever that is supposed to go. About this La Bianca issue and the court ruling and the press conference that OSP held last time indicates that OSP is trying to use his office to hunt people. That's what I would say.
But
if you want to,
if I may just share some thoughts with you. So there's the La Bianca issue with all the La Bianca, I mean, the woman at the center of all of that in the thick of it. And then the two officers, customs officials, especially Colonel Damois, who famously called the OSP a small boy. Then we can talk about, I believe there's the Charles Bishu issue. There has been the Cecilia Abena-Dapa issue, among others that have come to him. But there also seems to be a certain trend. I mean, remember, for example, with Cecilia Dapa, the statement from the presidency said they were sure, the president was sure, that her integrity would shine through. You also cannot say that all these people were whistle clean, that there was nothing amiss. Yes, there have been some rulings, there have been some that we have no idea what the decisions are. I'm not saying all of them, but aren't you concerned with his office and the back and forth, the pushback from the judiciary, as he is saying, and others? Aren't you concerned about that?
Yeah, I'm concerned, but what I'm trying to say is that he should do a deeper investigation, get all the necessary, whatever evidence.
Right. Before he makes a move, right?
And that if he is at fault, he should set and give a time to, and he did. What is it? So
unfortunately, can you go back just a little? We're losing some of what you're saying. The connection is bad. Just start a little. Hello? Go back about 20 seconds. I can hear you. Go ahead.
Is it okay, sir?
It's better. Go ahead.
What I'm saying is that the option was given to OSP to send Kwajo Damois to court if he thinks he's at fault. And he couldn't do that. And Damois sent OSP to court, and this is the court decision. So if he thinks there's any review or anything to be done, he can continue with it and don't try to seek the public sympathy as if there was some evidence in whatever it is.
Okay. Thank you very much. So he should stay out of the court of public opinion, like the Ghana Bar Association is saying. The only difficulty is going to fight your battle with the same entity you are struggling with. But thank you. That's how we're going to have to cap off. I'll just leave you with the headlines on the international front. Israel strikes Gaza as truce with Hamas ends. Released Palestinians allege abuse in Israeli jails. There has also been same from the Israelis who have been released, claiming that some of them were even raped. New AI may threaten safe office jobs. And just to let you know this morning, as I share with you my blunt thoughts, I'll be sharing my thoughts on the resource curse and our import-export conundrum, where we really are. The resource curse and our import-export conundrum, where we really are. Before we veer into sports, this segment always brought to you by Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. They're offering prostate screening for free, fertility screening if you're a woman for free. Just reach out to them at any of their branches. Here in Accra, they're at Spintex opposite the Shell signboard. In Kumasi, Chronomabwe here behind the Angel Educational Complex. There's Takrady Anaji State Tema Community 22, Techiman Hanswa, and the Siaman Zama. Their call lines 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. Bringing us to the end of the news review and the start of sports with Mubarak Haruna. Do stay.